So today we're going to do a review for Control. Control is a pretty good shooter with fun superpowers thrown in as well. It also has a good and interesting world that would end up connecting all of Remedy's other games. Alright, so I'm here to announce my free short-length survival horror game, What Happens at Midnight. This is 100% free to download and play on itch. If you don't know what that is, it's like YouTube for games set in an atmospheric small town where something strange happens at midnight. You'll meet some weird characters and gather supplies and hope you're ready for whatever happens when the clock strikes midnight. So let's dig into the gameplay. If it were down to just the player control, this would be Remedy's best gameplay. However, past that, there are some pieces that start to fall off. The shooting, dodging, and general movement are all pretty good and feel very smooth. There's a small but pretty good set of guns, where almost all of them are fun, unique, and serve a specific purpose. The powers are good and fun. That being said, the levitation power is kind of clunky. It reminds me of the jetpack in Star Wars Bounty Hunter, but that has the excuse of being old, so you expect the clunk. The weapon upgrade system is decent, but the area-specific materials and having to constantly delete old mods is annoying. The skill system is fairly good, although it's weird that neither the skills or weapon upgrade systems are ever tutorialized. Unfortunately, what drags the gameplay down the most is the enemies. There's a lot of annoying ones. They're the ones that fly around, that are hard to hit, and they distract you from the ones on the ground. I mean, you can't take to the air to fight them because there's no cover in the air. There are these big ball ones that teleport around and buff the other enemies in the area, and they're really annoying. Someone recently brought up a good point about teleporting enemies. It's that every time that they teleport and you have to track them down, that's not time you're engaged in the combat, and subsequently you're not having fun. There's also tanky enemies and enemies that explode on you. Also, it's annoying that every enemy that uses telekinesis to throw stuff at you can nearly one-shot you with one telekinesis projectile. Anyway, I spent so long on this because it's a very consistent problem with Remedy's games that I hope they do better on. And they did do better with Alan Wake 2, but it's still not great. I think if they made their enemies better, it made their gameplay a lot better. Also, the bosses aren't very good for the most part. Two more minor gameplay annoyances are that navigating the levels and checkpointing are sometimes bad. Overall, the gameplay has high highs and low lows, which ends up being a strange form of average. The story is fairly good and is mainly held up by its characters and world building. The characters are Remedy's classic good archetypal characters. Jessie is a good determined heroine. The side characters like the department heads and Dr. Darling are fun and unique. I also should have mentioned this in the Alan Wake reviews. I like how in the Remedy games that the main characters usually have some form of narration. Not only is it atmospheric, but it gives good insights into the characters. You can't always show and not tell. The world building is really good and not only supports Control's story, it also connects all Remedy's games. It's a good X-Files crossed with MIB sort of thing. The idea of this supernatural agency monitoring these supernatural activities is really fun. It also shows some reflections of paranoia and bureaucracy and has some Cold War espionage stuff. Remedy gets in their classic live action bits, which are good here. They're really fun, especially the Supernatural Kids Show.
Maybe your brain can throw baseballs, or talk to dead people, or make friends blind.
With all that good stuff being said about the story, overall the ending is pretty weak. And not only is it kind of sudden, but it doesn't feel like the true enemy bureaucracy is being just kind of subdued and worryingly almost feels accepted. Jessie says she's going to change things, but even in Alan Wake 2, it doesn't seem like things are very different. The Foundation DLC addresses this a little, but not much. There are some good voice performances in this game, one of them being James McCaffrey, who plays Trench. He played probably my favorite Rooney character, Alex Casey, in Alan Wake 2. So it's a real shame that he's gone. Moving on, the aesthetics are good with this red-gray color scheme, although it's a bit too gray sometimes. There's good sound effects. Mainly I'm talking about the pull throw sound effects for the telekinesis are really good. Remedy gets in their classic action music scene with the ashtray maze and the song Take Control. It's a pretty good one, but it has been surpassed with Herald of Darkness. The DLCs for this game are sort of more of the same type of deal. They each only add a couple new enemies and mechanics. The Foundation DLC has good new aesthetics and a decent story addition, and I'm sure seeing Alan Wake again with a sequel tease was really exciting back then. But for someone who's already played Alan Wake 2, the AWE DLC doesn't have much to offer. Overall, Control is a good superpowered shooter with a fun sci-fi mystery horror world, and I'm giving it an 8.39. Thank you to anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes. That's it.
I see a vision rising.